Hi there, and welcome to the latest RecordPoint product webinar. We run these update webinars on a quarterly basis and look forward to providing you details on all the exciting updates, a few new developments, and some helpful hints. I'm McKenna Iser, Product Marketing Manager based in our Seattle headquarters. Over the past several months, I've had the privilege of working with the wider product team and many of our customers across North America, gaining a deeper understanding of the challenges and opportunities our customers face. Some of the topics in today's webinar will help address those challenges and provide actionable solutions. Here's a quick rundown of what we'll cover today. First up, a connectors update. Daniel will introduce our new Microsoft Exchange Mailbox connector and how it provides flexibility, role-based management, and strong defensibility for email retention. For file plan upgrades, Daniel will also walk through enhancing file plan management with the new modifiable record category identifier and upcoming file import-export functionality, which simplifies integrations and reduces the need for custom scripts. Katie will cover our user interface updates. Here, you'll learn about the improvements in pagination on the advanced search results page, designed to make your navigation smoother and more intuitive. We will also cover a few new developments in the works: AI governance, and application retirement. It's no surprise. Everyone is thinking about AI these days, especially the security implications. Simon will guide you through our AI governance solution, offering best practices to safeguard data integrity and security in this rapidly evolving space. Learn how to implement effective guardrails and strategies to mitigate risk and ensure your AI deployments are reliable, responsible, and compliant. Lastly, we'll cover retiring legacy applications. Daniel will introduce our new application retirement solution and provide practical guidance on how to confidently retire legacy systems, focused on minimizing data and security risks, all while reducing total cost of ownership. Katie, Simon, and Daniel will walk you through updates today, but we do have the entire product team available to answer all your questions. Simply pop your question into the question tab and one of our team members will get back to you. We do have some time at the end of the webinar where the whole team will remain online and answer any question you might have. So make sure you add your questions to the question tab. If we don't get to your question today, we'll get back to you after the webinar. Let's get started. Daniel, over to you.
Thanks, Kenna. Hi everyone, my name's Daniel. I'm one of the product managers here at RecordPoint, and I'm keen to showcase the new Exchange Online Mailbox connector. RecordPoint has introduced a new iteration of the Exchange Online connector that has a more scalable approach towards email classification and retention. This is part of a new suite or a new style of connectors that we call entity-based connectors. This is where you have a piece of data that is pretty consistent and doesn't change over time, like a payslip, an income statement, or even a bank statement that is created in bulk periodically and requires a retention attached to it. So email retention continues to be a challenge for many organizations. After 40 plus years since email came onto the scene, we've become really good at using it, but organizations are still struggling with how to manage it. The current way that most organizations are being recommended to manage emails is to download the .msg EML files for the important emails, store that in a document library, and manually get rid of everything else once it meets its retention. Even if it is automated, there's typically no way of summarizing or attesting to what you had before you deleted it, as it's just simply gone. To paint the picture, email retention management problem is only getting worse, with the outpacing of emails created versus the resources available to manage it. So for example, the average mailbox sends or receives about 160 emails per day. And if you scale that across many years and many employees, we can see how this becomes a problem very quickly. And we've seen the consequences of poor email management on the news. For example, an Australian mining company faced a breach in their corporate email archives, highlighting the risks of having to maintain and manage those millions and millions of emails. You also have the likes of JP Morgan accidentally deleting evidence in a multi-million record retention blunder of about 47 million emails destroyed prematurely across 8,700 mailboxes. Now, although RecordPoint already has an Exchange Online connector to manage all those emails, customers continue to cite the need for a more scalable approach towards email classification that isn't as granular as a per email basis. So now, RecordPoint has actually worked with large customers to develop a new approach towards retention and management of emails required to have a successful data governance program. You now have the ability to have a flexibility in your approach to either manage each individual email or manage all mailboxes at scale. Secondly, you have the ability to enforce policy-based disposal, so you can manage employee mailboxes by the role, how senior they are. Do you want to manage every email? And finally, um, you have confidence in the defensibility of why you got rid of emails to show the criteria used when disposing of those emails. I'll now jump straight into a demo. So here we are on the connector setup page. You can see that the way to set this connector up is no different to how you would normally interact with other connectors at RecordPoint. The only thing to note here is in the roll-up period, this represents how many weeks, months, years of emails you want as a record. Now, I'll talk a little bit more into this a little later in the demo and show you what I mean, but for now, we'll set it to weekly and to give you a better sense of what it will look like in the software. So if we jump into the advanced search, you'll see that mailboxes here represent the aggregate or this entity. You might be wondering, like, what does this mailbox mean and why aren't we pulling in every single email? Well, what we found during our research and working alongside our customers is that most organizations, for things that are quite certain, low value, but very high in volume, like an email, they want to apply a blanket policy. So for the majority of users, we create a mailbox to represent the user or the entity. And if we jump into the record, you can see that there are many records that sit within this mailbox. So just like any other record or aggregate, you can see that it's got metadata attached to it. And if we look at the records, you can see there are many digests. So what this represents is a week's worth of emails. And you can see from the title exactly that it says it's 1 week, 2024, August, 24th of August to the 30th of August. So let's pick one of these that I already have selected. Just like any record, it has a classification, it has metadata, and we also have a binary attached to it. So what's in this binary? It represents a week's worth of emails, and this is searchable via the content search feature we have at RecordPoint. And if I pull that up now, you can see you'll be able to write up a search, find the rough emails within that period for discoverability purposes. And after disposal, the metadata that you configure will be what's in the digest, so that when the regulator comes along and says, did you have this email? They can say, yep, we had it, we got rid of it, and here's the metadata associated to that email that we kept to say that we did have it at one point. You see it has a subject, the sender, and the two recipients who did get sent to. That is all configurable based on your needs. Now, if we jump back to the slide, to summarize, organizations get the benefit and flexibility of having all their emails managed with the RecordPoint platform by either going the per email approach with our EXO connector or the manage en masse with the EXO mailbox connector. So if you'd like more information, we have a white paper on how to overcome email retention challenges, or you can get a demo from our lovely account managers. So over the last quarter, RecordPoint has listened to your feedback and spent the time to fix our file plan functionality to make sure that you no longer require a script for disposal class updates. What that means is you can now update your disposal class number from one version to another without having to destroy your rules tree or ML model. This enables a more seamless and frictionless customer experience where you don't have to spend the time trying to get approval for using a script or to destroy your hard work in training the model to scale your auto classification. This is part of a broader piece of work where we are introducing file plan import and exports, where customers will be able to import and export an entire file plan natively through the UI and not have to rely on our APIs or scripts. Additionally, we've partnered with File as Keepers, a leader in the global data retention space, to add functionality to help you build those file plans in the File as Keepers software and import it straight into RecordPoint. Your organizations like yourselves will have the added benefit of both an up-to-date file plan and legal citations to justify why you retain information for as long as you do, and then also appropriately action it on the RecordPoint platform. This functionality will be available in the coming months, and we'll keep you all posted with updates on the What's New section of our Help Center. So please keep a lookout or contact your account manager if you'd like updates. I'll now hand over to Katie to discuss the new UI updates.
Hello everyone, I'm Katie, a product manager here at RecordPoint. Today I'm going to talk to you about our UI modernization project. The UI modernization project is an ongoing piece of work here at RecordPoint that we're undertaking to uplift our user interfaces. The project has two main goals. The first goal is to increase functionality for a better user experience. So we're taking into account both your feedback and best-in-class standards to make the platform as efficient and streamlined as possible. The second goal is to make the platform more accessible for individuals with a range of visual and physical impairments. In particular, we're updating the platform in line with Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, known as WCAG. The UI modernization project is being rolled out in small phases so as not to cause a large disruption to your user experience and everyday workflows. You may have already seen some changes rolled out, and today I'm going to demonstrate what those are. Here I am in RecordPoint on the advanced search page, and I'm going to run through two groups of updates that we have made. The first group is about changes to the advanced search grid, which is this table here. The first change is that you can resize columns straight from the header like this. The second change is that you can drag and drop columns to reorder them. And the final change is that you can use this horizontal scroll bar to see results that spill off the screen. The second group of updates we have made on this page are paging and navigation updates, and they relate to these buttons at the bottom. The first change is that now you can see results 30, 50, or 100 records at a time. This is actually a really exciting change because it came about as the result of customer feedback from user voice. I'll talk about user voice in a bit more detail in a little while. Here you can see 100 results have loaded. The second change to navigation is being able to directly navigate to a specific page in your search results. So if you move your attention here to the bottom right, you used to have to click through each page one by one to get to the next set of data. Now I can skip directly to any page in this data set. Let's say I'm going to skip directly to page 3. The last thing that we have updated with the navigation updates is the responsiveness of the platform. So it is much more responsive and loads more quickly. These specific changes are going to be rolled out more broadly across the platform, so they won't just be in advanced search, you'll see them everywhere in RecordPoint. Now, I did mention user voice. If you haven't heard of user voice before, it is where you can share your ideas to improve our platform. You can also vote on ideas that other customers have raised. If you'd like access to user voice and you don't have it already, please speak to your account manager to gain access because we'd love to hear from you. These are the two changes that mark the start of our UI modernization project. So expect more functionality to be rolled out gradually to minimize the impact on your everyday use of the platform. If you're wondering how to keep up to date with all the changes that we are making to the UI, you can do so in our Help Center. Here I'm on the landing page of our Help Center. If you scroll to this What's New section and click into it, you'll be able to see every change that product has rolled out. In particular, these items with the user interface update are those which are part of the UI modernization project. For example, if I click into this entry, you'll be able to see our release that we made when we updated the pagination and navigation. If I click into this screenshot, you'll be able to see the 30, 50, or 100 records, as I was mentioning earlier. Now I'm going to hand over to Simon for an update to AI governance.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Simon Thompson. I'm a product manager here at RecordPoint, and I'm going to be talking about RecordPoint's AI governance capability. So what we mean by AI governance is we have these organizations who are building AI projects. It might be a customer support chatbot. It might be an internal financial analysis chatbot where you're using this base model, like OpenAI, ChatGPT, whatever it may be, and you want to provide that model with your own proprietary, unique organizational data. And the reason that you want to do that is because the models are fast and furiously becoming commoditized, whereas the data that you are making available to those models, that's where the real value is, because that's proprietary to your organization and no one else has that. So there's a huge opportunity to be unlocked by leveraging existing AI models and layering in your own organizational unique proprietary data. Now, the challenge with that is, what data are you making available to that AI? So number one, the point here is you might be exposing sensitive data to that AI. So it might be PII, it might be private data, data you have no business, making non-confidential across the business, might be pertaining to individuals under the age of 18. Whatever it may be, there are huge risks, legally, ethically, and reputationally to giving an AI access to information that it shouldn't have, and it would be highly inappropriate or illegal if it were to output that information into the world, really along the same lines of a data breach. Whereas in a data breach, a malicious actor has to get the inappropriate information out. In this case, you're essentially volunteering it to the AI. So it's really important that we don't do that. Number two is, once that AI has access to a whole bunch of data, there might be millions and millions of documents. How do we get transparency and accountability into what's going into that data set? And this is a key call out of the new legislation that's coming out of Europe, which I'll talk to in a little bit. The next is unclear AI accountability. So what decisions are being made and why when it comes to that AI project? So for example, does the project need to exist in the first place? Is it ethical for this AI product to be out in the world? What kinds of data are we putting into it and why? Is it appropriate to put that data in, and so on and so forth? And having that accountability and decision log around some of those decisions is really crucial. And number four is just focusing on the quality of the data. So it's one thing to make sure that the AI doesn't have quote unquote bad data or inappropriate or illegal or sensitive data, but you also want to make sure that it's got useful data, so that when the end user is using that product, there's actually relevant and clear and appropriate data that is actually going to help them achieve the task at hand, being made available to that AI product. And so these are some of the challenges that we're looking to solve with our AI governance product. And so when we look at the organizations who are embarking on these generative AI initiatives, we find that only 24% of them, according to this report by IBM, are actually being secured and have good, strong governance principles where there's thought and active process into what types of data is making its way into that product, who has the accountability, who has the ownership, and are we making those decisions and that data transparent and explainable to anyone who might be interested, so that we're acting in an ethical manner. So that's a fairly alarming statistic. And what we ultimately see as an upshot of that is a lot of companies are just pressing pause. They're just saying the risks of this AI project going off the rails and having access to data we don't want it to is just too high. And so they're just hitting the brakes until they can get those governance practices in place. Now, RecordPoint is actively offering a solution to the AI governance problem, which I'll touch on in a bit. We're modeling that solution around the EU AI Act of 2024. So this is recent legislation that's come out of Europe. I won't go into details of the act, but there's plenty of information online. But essentially what we expect to see is this will act as the kind of model for the rest of the world as they start to develop their own legislation as well. We've already seen bits and pieces come out of for the US, for example, with an executive order on the use of AI. And some of the things that you'd see in those legislation are things listed here, such as, providing context and decision trails of why some of those decisions were made and having accountability around those decisions, knowing what's in that data, being able to curate what's in that data set that's being made available to the AI, and then being able to summarize and validate and explain and have transparency over what data is being used in those products. So those are some of the key call-outs from that EU legislation that we're seeing and what we're kind of basing a lot of our product decisions on here at RecordPoint. So RecordPoint does have this capability today. So when you think about some of the steps that are required in order to make curated data available to an AI product, what you'll want to be doing is connect and unifying data from multiple different sources. So, if you're familiar with what RecordPoint does, this is essentially our bread and butter. So whether the data is in SharePoint or network file shares or Google Drive or SAP or Salesforce, whether it's structured or unstructured, RecordPoint can connect into those systems, unify it, and get it into a manageable state so that you have a single pane of glass across your entire data estate. So that's step one. And then once you do that, you'll want to classify that data so you can understand it. So what are the invoices? What are the contracts? What are the NDAs? So on and so forth, and just get a proper understanding of that data in aggregate. Then you'll want to pick up on those sensitivity markers. So, is there PII in there? Is there PCI? Or do we have social security numbers and tax file numbers and all those sorts of things that we'll want to curate out of that data set? And then we'll want to have that transparency over what's in that data set. And we can do that via reporting capability today. And then ultimately, we'll want to export that data and get it into a format where it's being consumed by AI. Again, all capability which is available in the RecordPoint platform today. Our RecordPoint is embarking on a journey to improve this offering and add to this functionality over time. So watch this space, and in continuous product update webinars, we'll be sure to keep you posted on the progress on that front. But if you would like to embark on an AI project and you are worried about some of the governance principles that you might have in place, we'd love to discuss your goals and explore how the RecordPoint platform, along with our upcoming features, can help with our AI governance. In our follow-up email, we'll provide details on how to get in touch, or feel free to reach out to your account manager at any time. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Simon. I'm really excited to discuss the new RecordPoint application retirement platform and how it can help your organizations reduce costs associated with maintaining outdated systems quickly and ensuring compliance with the regulators. As you're probably aware, the top challenge companies face today is cost, and that's not going away. By 2025, enterprises will allocate nearly 40% of their IT budgets just to manage technical debt, including the maintenance of legacy systems. This is unsustainable, as these costs will keep escalating indefinitely, and I'm sure your organization has plans for the future in this age of artificial intelligence. So now the pressing question becomes, when and how should you replace your legacy systems whilst also maintaining compliance with the regulators? In today's fast evolving digital landscape, modernizing your legacy systems is not just a strategic choice, it's a necessity. Outdated systems pose significant risks and challenges that can hinder your organization's ability to stay competitive and secure. Especially with global regulations cracking down on compliance, now is the time to get a handle of your data. Modernization achieves three key outcomes: cutting down maintenance costs and operational expense, so freeing up those resources for innovation. Secondly, providing clear and accurate data that can seamlessly integrate with reporting tools that can help give your organization a competitive edge. It can also power those ML models in a very compliant manner. And finally, it improves security and compliance by having a central and secure location for all your data, protecting your organization and ensuring strong data governance. By moving from high maintenance, outdated systems to more modern solutions, you'll reduce costs, boost data visibility, and strengthen your security posture, positioning your organization to thrive in this digital era. So today I wanted to speak to you about the RecordPoint platform and how it can serve as a solution to help you confidently and efficiently retire those legacy applications and be compliant with the regulator. Our platform today already achieves this, and here's how RecordPoint makes it happen. It's a four-step process. Firstly, mass data extraction. You efficiently, extract large volumes of data from those legacy systems, and RecordPoint can help process millions and millions of items per day. Secondly, management and compliance. So you can securely manage and comply with data regulations, retaining access to those critical information when needed. Features like the connector framework, policy-based retention, searching across all those systems and detailed audit reports help in maintaining compliance and managing records efficiently through this retirement process. Thirdly, there's the validation step, ensuring that data matches the original source before removal from the legacy system, which is a very key part of data integrity and compliance. Finally, you have the transfer and archival. A crucial aspect of application retirement is transferring and archiving that data. And we're actively working on some functionality that will help streamline that archival process. Once available, you'll be able to seamlessly transfer data from the legacy system to RecordPoint to an archival system. We'll keep you informed as we make progress, but feel free to contact your account manager or myself directly if you'd like to discuss this further. So to recap, the RecordPoint platform by its very nature can support the retirement of legacy applications. Instead of continuing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars every year as you try and triage the data within those old systems, utilize the RecordPoint ARP platform, a solution designed to help you retire legacy applications and achieve ROI almost immediately. If your organization is going through a digital transformation project or recently acquired a business and is unsure how to manage those applications, I'd love to discuss your goals and explore how the RecordPoint platform, along with our upcoming features, can support this process. In our follow-up email, we'll provide details on how to engage, how to get in touch, or feel free to reach out to your account manager anytime. I'll now hand over to Kenna to close out the webinar.
Thanks, Daniel. As we approach the end of our webinar, let's recap the key topics we covered today. Daniel introduced the Microsoft Exchange Mailbox Connector, designed for flexibility, role-based management, and strong defensibility for email retention. We introduced the new modifiable record category identifier and upcoming import-export functionality, which simplifies integrations. Katie discussed enhancements in pagination, aimed at making your search experience more efficient and user-friendly. Simon highlighted strategies for ensuring data integrity and security in the era of AI, important for maintaining compliance and protecting your information. And Daniel shared valuable advice on how to retire legacy systems confidently, optimizing costs, data visibility, and secure compliance while driving IT transformation. To keep up with the latest in data privacy, security, and governance, be sure to stay connected with Filed, our educational content series to help you stay up to date. Our monthly newsletter brings you news and insights at the intersection of data privacy, data security, and governance. You can also tune into our podcasts, where we have conversations with experts and leaders in the space. And of course, you can join us for future webinars, where we dive deeper into the privacy and records management space with professionals who have extensive experience in the field. I'm especially excited about our recent AI Governance Filed session, where we explored how AI can transform data governance strategies and provided valuable insights into this evolving field. In this session, we had the pleasure of speaking with a partner lead at Microsoft, along with our CEO, Anthony Woodward, and AI product manager, Simon Thompson. It's quite the listen. We'll include a link to Filed in the follow-up email so you can explore these topics at your convenience. We also welcome your suggestions for future product webinars and other RecordPoint events. Feel free to reach out with any topics or ideas you'd like us to cover, and we'll consider them for our upcoming sessions. And with that, we'll open the floor for Q&A. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them into the question tab on the bottom of your screen. Our team will remain online to answer your questions. And remember, if we don't get to your question today, we'll get back to you after the webinar. Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on our next webinar.